Look, they did what they could do. It's been a great season. However, I hate the idea of whatever first-round matchup they're going to have with Miami or Philadelphia.
Are you scared? You sound a little afraid.
Scared, different, but come on, this is not a good first-round match. Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I guess so. I mean, not that I'm scared, but for them, I think that they could lose, to specifically to the Sixers. That's the one team I don't want.
Well, first of all, the Knicks could lose to anybody. They could lose to the Pacers. They could lose to the Magic. They could lose to the winner of the Heat 76ers playing series. See, it's funny. And listen, I understand the conversation around, well, if they would have done this, they could have manipulated the first round matchup maybe more favorably. So what? To me, Sal, this is exactly who the Knicks are. And you just heard the cut from Tom Thibodeau in the update there. Asking the Knicks to do anything but finish the season with resolve and pride would be so anti-Knick. I don't care who we play. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I'm not saying you should tank by any stretch or lose or try to get, if we lose this game, we might be able to get a better matchup with somebody else. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's unfortunate. Look, I don't care what you say about you're not afraid of the Sixers. The Sixers should not be a 7 seed. So in a year where the Knicks actually accomplish something great, they get the number 2 seed. Think about that. 50 wins and they get the number 2 seed. They're not going to face a normal number 7 seed, and that's bullcrap. And I'm allowed to be angry about that. Now, I personally am not going to say that they should have lost because I do think it was important to win and see where the chips fall. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not tanking to try to get a matchup because then the narrative becomes, the Knicks wanted the Pacers, and then that's going to take the Pacers off, and who knows what that could lead to. There's no guarantee over anybody. However, it is infuriating to me that the Knicks accomplished this great feat, getting the number 2 seed. I still have to say it 100 times because I can't believe it. 50-win season, and yet their reward, the Sixers or the Heat.
Yeah, but you know what? And I understand the Eastern Conference is, boy, it's really odd this year because you're right, Sal. The Knicks are not facing a conventional 7 seed, but I think we all know the Knicks shouldn't even be a 2 seed in a lot of ways. Now they earned it, so that almost seems odd to say that they shouldn't be because you are what you earn. But when Randall went down in January, when OG went down, when Mitchell Robinson went down early, all the different things the Knicks had to deal with. They're not they almost have no business being a 2 seed, except they're such a cohesive, well-oiled machine that they just plow through anything in their way. So I get it. I understand. Yeah, okay. Spoelstra in round 1, and Jimmy Butler. Or Joel Embiid, who's back healthy, and Tyrese Maxey, and Kyle Lowry, who's a sniper with big game chops. Understood. But you know what? Would you rather the Knicks be, a 4 or a 5 seed and have to face the Celtics in round 2 if they win? Like anything. Now, I know that if they were the 3 seed, they would have avoided the Celtics as well. But really, the Knicks, to me, how they scratched out 50 wins is nothing short of amazing. And, I'm driving around yesterday, I'm listening to the game, I'm like, come on. And I remember saying this early in the week, I wanted 50 for this team. Symbolically, I wanted the number 50 next to the New York Knicks 2023-2024 name. Now, is it much different than 49? No, it's literally one more win. But 50 wins for this team, it reminds everybody just how much they accomplished when, quite frankly, they had no business accomplishing it.
Yeah, but which is a great accomplishment. Winning 50 games with this team without Julius Randle, to me, it speaks to the superstardom of Jalen Brunson, something we talked about months ago, saying, I don't care what the rest of the league says. See, there's a difference between me, and I'm not going to speak for you here, BT, but I know we've had this conversation together, but I don't follow other people's opinions. So when it may not seem popular to say something like Brunson is an MVP, not really. Well, bullcrap. I watch him every night, and it's hard-pressed to find somebody better than Jalen Brunson. And now here we are months later, and it's been proven that he should be the MVP of this league. To your point, without Jalen Brunson, they have no shot. They lose Randall. They lose Anunoby for a significant period of time. And yet here we are talking about the Knicks as a 2 seed. But there is frustration when you look at it, and there's no easy way in the postseason. We love getting into it with the matchups and this and that. And yeah, obviously you want to avoid the top seed, in this case Boston, as long as you possibly can, which they are now going to do. Problem is getting there. And there were more favorable matchups in the first round. then the Knicks have to get a team. Look, arguably the two teams you don't want to play in the first round, period. Philadelphia, Miami. That goes for everybody, and the Knicks are going to have one of those teams. Also, Philadelphia with Embiid back, they've been as hot as anybody in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That's a first-round matchup. I mean, that should be a semis matchup, the Knicks and Sixers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Joel Embiid he's a one-man wrecking ball. He's a machine. Tyrese Maxey is a handful. I mentioned before they got a couple of shooters healed, and Kyle Lowry's tough, and they're good. And their coach won a championship at a previous spot. Got it. And the other option, Spoelstra, the Riley dynamic, obviously Jimmy Butler. Listen, I do think in terms of roster construction, matchup stuff, blah, 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 I do think that the Knicks would probably, I think this is unpopular because I think a lot of people deep down, even though you don't want to admit it, are a little afraid of the Miami Heat. I actually think the Heat, and I'll put quotes around this because nothing's easy with Miami, but I do think that that's the easier route, like a 6 or a 7 game series with Miami versus a 6 or a 7 game series with the Sixers. But listen, man, I mean,
I want Miami, BT.
You want them. You want them to actually win.
I want yes, I want Miami. Now, do I want Miami or Philly in the first round? No, that wouldn't have been my preference. If you look at it, like the Bucks now are going to have an easy path where they could face the Pacers and then either the Knicks, Sixers, or Heat in the second round.
Yep.
That is the way you want to do it. The Knicks are going to have to face the Sixers or the Heat and then potentially Milwaukee and then potentially Boston. Like, that's a gauntlet. But yes, if you're asking me which team do I want Miami. I want revenge on Miami. I still hate the Heat dating back to the 90s, obviously, but specifically last year. And also, I'm not afraid of them this year. I thought the Knicks should have beat them last year. I think they will beat them this year. I don't want any part of Embiid and the Sixers not in the first round.
And I was trying to think of this. One of the great things about the Knicks is that, when they're good, is that they've got a real identifiable foe. Somebody that we can dig in at, whether it's Reggie, obviously Jordan and that crew, Reggie Miller with the Pacers, Miami, and not just this Miami, the previous one when Pat Riley was coaching. The 76ers, that's why I think Philly would be fun, independent of matchups and strategies and stuff. I mean, just the overall proximity of the two cities. And I might be wrong on this, but I don't think the Knicks and the Sixers have played in the playoffs since they remember when they actually took the broom, like Ewing and Sidney Green and Mark Jackson. They beat the Sixers. That's what it was. That's
even before my time, I think, BT.
Yeah, I think that was the '89 series. I remember Mark Jackson hitting like a 30-foot three-point bomb with time expiring, and the Knicks actually went in, and it was on the road. They took a broom and they walked across the floor. And that's the last time they played the Sixers. Think about that. We're 90 miles apart, and they haven't played in the playoffs since '89. So, I get it. Miami's dangerous. Miami's tough. Miami knows how to win. There's a big chunk of me. I don't know. Maybe it's Spike is leaving, going down to Philly. Bring on the Sixers. All I heard all year was, Embiid this, and he's a beast. He's a monster. But you know what? I think the Knicks have answers for him, and I think they've got enough answers for their great players. I don't care. Think about where we've been as Knicks fans, and think about where we are now. Mm-hmm. We just banged in number 50. We sit back and watch two good teams play each other. You never know. Not that you're wishing for it, but injury, whatever. You're in a position where no matter where you finished, it wasn't going to be easy. If you finish in the bottom half, you got to play Celtics in round 2. If you finish where the Miami Heat or the Sixers are right now, you're playing a play-in game. There's no real definitive road to the Eastern Conference Finals. So what I'm saying is I'm afraid of nobody. I think the Knicks could beat everybody, including the Celtics, but I won't get to them now. They can beat Miami. Matter of fact, they will beat Miami, and they will beat the Sixers.
Wow.
Bring them up. Bring them on.
Miami,
Knicks are going to, you can book this. Knicks are going to round 2.
Oh,
book
God,
it.
You just
book
put
it.
the
No,
kibosh on it.
No, you're the
jinxing it.
No. I'm not the jinx. You are.
You just jinxed it. I said they beat Miami. You're saying they're beating everybody.
That's right.
Oh, no. By the way, all I'm saying, we're going to get to the calls here in a second, BT and Sal on the Fan. All I'm saying is that the Knicks' accomplishments are diminished. Well, I shouldn't say diminished, but winning the 2 seed is negated by the potential opponent with Miami and the Sixers. Part of winning the 2 seed is, you're going to have a less than opponent, a lesser opponent. They're not going to get that regardless of who they play between those two teams. BT and Sal on the Fan, our friends at Town Fair Tire, remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Pete is in Seaford. What's up, Pete?
Hey, guys. Good morning. How you doing?
How are you, Pete?
Good. I don't care about the Knicks or the Sixers. I mean, about the Heat or the Sixers. Bring on either team. The Thibodeau switched this team into playoff mode over the 5-game winning streak. You could see he shortened the rotation. I'm going to say he stretched the minutes, but for Tibbs, you really can't tell if he stretches the minutes or not. It's the same every night. But the shortening of the rotation and the way I see it. I watch 48 minutes of probably 75 games every season, and you could see the way he's managed these last 5 games. He has his team in playoff mode. Yep. And the other night on TNT, as the Knicks were smacking the Celtics and the TNT crew were contorting themselves to try to justify, the Celtics don't care about this game. Charles Barkley, who I believe was on that Sixers team you just referenced, BT. I think that the Knicks swept those. That was a Barkley Celtics team. Yeah. I mean, Sixers team, which may explain how Barkley feels about the Knicks ever since. Barkley said something interesting, that when you take your foot off the gas late in the season, sometimes it's hard to get back up for the playoffs. And, if you watch any Sixers game, and ask your boy Spike about this on his way out the door, has Joel Embiid attempted a dunk since he's back? I don't think he has. So even though he's a elite jump shooter for his size, and the only reason we could say that Jalen Brunson has been the best player in the Eastern Conference this season is because Joel Embiid missed this entire calendar year, basically, Joel Embiid, without an ability to drive to the rack and get guys in foul trouble, is not the same guy.
Pete, but they've won 8 straight, and thank you for the call. The Sixers are as hot as there is in the NBA right now. That is not a matchup that anybody wants, especially not in the first round. Like, eventually you're going to have to get there. Yep. The Sixers have as good a chance as anybody, BT, to win the East.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with that. I know Embiid is terrific. I don't think as highly of Philly as a lot of people do. I don't. And specific to this Knicks stuff, like, again, Jimmy Butler, he'll just rip your heart out, and Spoelstra's a great coach, and they got some big game players, there's no doubt there. But I look at Philly, I say, okay, can the Knicks match up with them? And the first thing you started with is Embiid. Now, if Mitchell Robinson wasn't healthy or active, I might say, that's 6 fewer fouls and now. But what the Knicks do is going to make, if it is Philly, I mean, Philly very well might not win, but I'm saying people seem to be a little more afraid of Embiid than I am, although I respect his great talents. Like,
and the guy's an MVP.
Well, so is our guy.
Yeah,
so is our guy.
Not officially yet.
Well, I don't care. Officially,
okay,
he wasn't.
Well, then we'll get. What do you mean officially? You either are an MVP.
No, but hold on a sec. That's not true, Sal. Because every year you tell me that Lindor's a Gold Glover, but he didn't win it. So
you don't want to do the Lindor stuff, do you? We'll get into that, my friend. We got 4 hours.
What do you mean? What do you go 9 for 13 this weekend? We'll talk Mets and Yanks later, no doubt. Doc, I know you were out there. That was awesome. I was listening to the ceremony on 880 coming back from a baseball game, and I love what Doc said. We'll get to that stuff later. But listen. I understand that the perception of Embiid and the reality, they are the same. He is amazing, but they are. The Knicks, a team that's going to force him to do. I don't want to get too into the matchups. That's like old school radio. But the Knicks have shooters everywhere. So when they're switching and Joel Embiid's moving his feet and he's 15, 18 feet away from the rim, have fun. Have fun with that, Joel.
I would say, BT. Now, I had this feeling last year during the Miami series. If you recall, and I don't remember your exact take because you and I weren't working together at the time, but most Knicks fans were thrilled that they were playing Miami in the second round.
Yes, so was I.
And I was like, I don't want I just had a bad feeling about Miami. There's one team that I've been saying all year long, one team that I didn't want early on, the Sixers. That's the one team. Anybody else, Bucks, take your chances. Obviously, that wouldn't be a first-round matchup, but I'm not scared of the Bucks. Cleveland, Magic, Indiana, even Miami, who I welcome. No issues. There's one team that gives me the feeling that Miami gave me last year, and that's the Sixers. I want no part of them. Evan is calling from Warren, New Jersey. What's up, Evan?
BT and Sal, best show on the fan. I love you guys. The best.
Thank you, Evan. What's on your mind?
Appreciate that, bud.
I mean, we got the best player in the series. That's why I'm not scared. I mean, Brunson is going to go toe-for-toe with anybody on that court. And I think out of the 3 guys that were hurt, in Randall, OG, and Mitchell Robinson, we got 2 out of the 3 we needed to make this playoff push. I mean, Randall, obviously, be nice to have him, but OG's, premier defense, probably the best defender you could argue in the NBA, and that's what you need in the playoffs. The game's going to slow down. It's going to go half court, and he can shut down anybody. Brunson can score with anybody, and I'm not scared of anybody. Let's go. Best team in my lifetime. Brunson, he's not the MVP this year, but he's not the MVP.
Well, he should be.
I mean,
he should be the MVP this year.
100%. I mean, I'm just so excited. And this team is unkillable.
There he is. Now we tap into that primal rage.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Listen, I think that it's probably, and people can do this. I'm not doing this. It's not arrogance. It's confidence. Like, I'm not sitting here saying the Knicks are going to beat anybody. What I am saying is I think we got answers to beat anybody. And I think that when you look at the depth and the adaptability, but the ability to play a couple of different styles. Like, if you want to race to 125, 130, and I know that Tom Thibodeau doesn't want that defensively, but the Knicks are equipped based on their penchant for shooting threes and hitting threes at a high clip, and obviously having guys that could shoot and score. Like, you want to take this thing into the 120s? All right, let's go. You want to grind this thing out to 95, 89? All right, let's go. I mean, what kind of game do you want to play? Now, the onus is on Brunson to transfer the regular season into the playoffs, which is what the great ones do. And we know that he's great, but he needs to really, now he's got to hammer home.
Well, the great ones elevate in the
That's
postseason.
Right. And, even if he doesn't elevate, just sustain it. Because I don't know how was he going to average 50?
No, I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get it. Right. If he sustains it, it should be, you'd hope, enough.
Yeah, you just can't have this discernible drop in performance, which I don't think he will. You can't have Tom Thibodeau getting out coached again like he did by Spoelstra last year in round 2. You can't have Dante DiVincenzo kind of reverting back to maybe his earlier days where he had less of a role and he shoots 28-29% from downtown, high volume shot, which I don't think he will. I mean, McBride can't shrink from the spotlight of this new elevated role. I mean, I could take you chapter and verse. Bogdanovich, you're going to have a game or two where he pumps in 15, 16, 17. He's gotten his confidence back. OG's got to defend. OG's got to let it rip from the corner. Like, if the Knicks do, here's the beautiful thing, Sal. If the Knicks play the way they played all year, they're going to advance. Like, it's not like there's been situations, whether it's the Knicks or the Yankees or any team in our city, where for them to win a big game or advance in a series, they've got to overachieve. The Knicks don't need to overachieve. They just nearly need to continue achieving what they've achieved so far, and they'll win.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Let me just be clear here before we go to break. We'll come back and take more of your calls on the other side. I'm not afraid of anybody. However, I don't think the Sixers is a good matchup, especially in the first round for the Knicks. I'll be rooting like hell for the Miami Heat come Wednesday night. BT and Sal on the Fan. More of your calls on the other side.